Good Tuesday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by the Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Joe Everett. Well, currently 44 degrees outside here at the farm this morning, and I will say this morning I'm still having trouble adjusting to this time change, but one thing I'm not having trouble with is adjusting to this great weather we're having. Today's high should be around the mid-60s. Makes it feel like planting season is right around the corner. Now looking at the calendar, the Jackson County Regional Livestock Market will have a bred cow sale March 14th at 6 p.m. JCRLM.com, your livestock authority. Now let's check in with Dale Minyo for an update on weed pressures going into this year's growing season.
Joining me is Willard Griffin. He's the row crop segment manager for Valent USA. And Willard, probably a lot of producers this time of the year are trying to figure out what kind of weeds did we have from last year and how do we control those this year, but we don't know if it's going to be wet or dry. How do you approach that situation for producers?
Yeah, especially when we're looking at some really funky weather patterns we've seen the last few years and really not knowing what's coming our way. The best way to manage it is really on the front end. If we can get something out for a fall pre-emerge, that's really something that if you can get it out soon after harvest, if you work in your ground or if you're not, get something out there so that as we get into the winter month, we're not really sure if it's going to be wet or dry. We have a clean field regardless. Obviously, that's hindsight 2020 looking back is what we can do after harvest next year. But from this year perspective, I think it's more about when you have those windows of opportunity to get out in the field, if there's not snow on the ground, getting a pre-emerge that has residual out there, get your burn down out, get your residual out. If you can get a residual out, it opens your planting window a little longer. You can jump in or jump out just depending on the weather. If you can get a couple of dry days, you can plant. If you got a lot of weeds in there, it's really difficult to get in there and do anything productive if you're trying to plant through some weed stands. So our suggestion is obviously a pre-applied fall burn down with a pre-emerge residual product, and then coming in as early as you can in the spring and planning on making that pre-emerge application.
Willard Griffin, my guest, row crop segment manager for Valent USA, helping us to better understand how to have more options this spring.
Thanks, Dale, for the update. Well, a letter signed by 9,000 corn growers and advocates from 47 states was sent to the House and Senate leadership last week on year-round E15. The letter urges Congress to remove an obsolete federal policy preventing the sale of E15 during the summer months. A legislative solution for consumers to access year-round E15 comes at no cost, yet would provide critical support to our nation's energy sector, overdue relief for American families, and provide necessary economic security to our rural communities, the letter said. Standardizing year-round E15 will increase corn demand by about 2.3 billion bushels per year. NCGA also says that considering about one-third of the corn produced in the United States is used for ethanol production, this demand creation would result in an impressive improvement in profitability for operations across the nation, and our rural communities would reap the benefits. Congress fell short of an E15 fix late last year. While DOGE moves to cancel USDA office leases. The Trump administration is pressing to eliminate local USDA offices around the country while slashing more than $2 billion in grants tied to local and regional food markets and continuing to freeze conservation contracts. Members of the National Farmers Union and speakers at the group's national meeting questioned the legality of the USDA canceling signed contracts and the ramifications for farmers from such actions. The Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, maintains on its website that it is closing local Farm Service Agency, National Resource Conservation Service, and rural development offices in at least 24 states across the country, even though that Congress traditionally has blocked USDA from closing local service centers. At least 13 local FSA offices are losing their leases, along with more than 30 NRCS offices. Members of Congress have aggressively defended against efforts to close these local offices. In hearings last month, members of the House and Senate Agricultural Committees had made it clear they oppose closing any local FSA offices. Stay tuned. We'll be back with today's weather after this.
This is Dale Minyo with the Ohio AgNet. For over 25 years, my truck has been running strong on biodiesel, reliable, high-performance fuel that keeps me on the road promoting agriculture. Every gallon helps power Ohio's economy, protect our environment, and support our hardworking soybean farmers. The best part? It works in any diesel engine. No modifications needed. Take it from me. Choose biodiesel and drive with purpose. Learn how at soyohio.org.
Nearly 90% of farmers say that financial worries, constantly changing market conditions, and other uncontrollable variables take a toll on their mental well-being. Add in the weather and family dynamics, well, it's a lot to handle alone. But did you know farmers and their families can receive free confidential services from licensed professionals? Support is available 24/7 to help with the challenges you face. Look for Farm Family Wellness Alliance under the Resources tab at farmfoundation.org. Take care of yourself. Your well-being matters.
You're tuning in on the Ohio AgNet. Today's weather brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Slightly cooler air trying to push into Ohio for your Tuesday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. We are not seeing any significant frontal boundary coming through, just some colder air trying to push southward across the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region. That's backing up our temperature profile here a little bit today. So while we expect good sunshine and an overall nice day, I just don't quite think we're as warm today as yesterday. We might get close, but we're not going to exceed it. And for tomorrow, we're still staying in this slightly cooler temperature range. We see a return of south flow to finish the week Thursday and Friday. That dominates the discussion there. Strong winds will be on Friday as well ahead of our next frontal boundary. That front sweeps through on Saturday, likely going to give us anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of rain, 100% coverage across Ohio. If we get thunderstorm activity, we can see slightly higher totals across parts of southern and eastern Ohio. But at this point, I'm not convinced thunderstorms can come together here. We go into a cool surge behind this for the finish of the weekend. That's going to be Sunday into Monday of next week before temperatures rebound to Tuesday, Wednesday, and we have another strong round of moisture trying to head towards us at midweek. That's the way your forecast is stacking up. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Now let's check in for an update from Dusty Sonnenberg.
I'm visiting today with Todd Jeffries. We are with Seed Genetics Direct out at Commodity Classic in Denver, Colorado. And Todd, a lot of exciting things going on. A lot of folks walking around the show today. What are some of the conversations folks have wanted to talk about here today?
A lot of the conversations we've had is just about the next growing season.
Sure.
And hopefully we can start off on the right foot to get a crop in the ground and get it growing and hopefully dodge major flooding and major droughts.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, March is here, and for a lot of folks, that means it's time to be looking for seed deliveries.
Oh, absolutely. Our shipping team's been doing an excellent job, and as soon as James and I get back to the office on Friday, we'll be hooking up to the gooseneck trailers and delivering to our own customers.
Very good. Well, some exciting things going on out at Seed Genetics Direct when it comes to some integration and some new infrastructure you guys are putting in.
Yeah, we started building over the summer a soybean cleaning facility, and we're excited to vertically integrate. Right now we work with 5 different soybean conditioners, which we'll continue to work with most of them, but the vertical integration part is big for us in order to control our inventory better. And freight, whether it's going one direction or 2 directions, it adds up. So if we can cut a layer off that, then we can keep our prices down.
Always that you guys are working hard to serve the customers better. Again, my guest today is Todd Jeffries with Seed Genetics Direct. Todd, thanks for the update and all your time.
Thank you, Dusty.
Thanks, Dusty, for the update. You can also find this interview at ohioagnet.com. Well, consumers are worried about tariffs and food prices. Grocery stores and gas pumps are important inflation indicators. While inflationary concerns have been persistent in recent years, the back and forth regarding tariffs on Canada and Mexico, as well as tariffs on Chinese goods, have prompted additional concern about prices. Results from the Gardner Food and Agricultural Policy Survey found most consumers across both political parties expect tariffs to increase the prices they pay for food. Just over 77% of the participants responded that they are either somewhat or very worried about tariffs, and those who are worried about tariffs' impact on food prices are also pessimistic about short-term inflation, expecting inflation to get worse over the next few months. While both ag exports and imports are up for the current fiscal year, but how does that reflect in the latest ag trade balance per the USDA's latest update? Let's check in with Rod Bain from the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
USDA's March agricultural trade update reveals fiscal year to date, October to January, export and import projections and how they compare to the prior year. Agriculture Department economist Mark Kenner with the data.
Agricultural exports for fiscal year to date were $64 billion, up 2% from the previous year. Agricultural imports for fiscal year to date through January were $76 billion, up 15% from the same time period the year before.
So the trade balance for the 2024-25 fiscal year to date?
A trade balance of negative $12 billion, which is $8.9 billion less than the negative $3 billion of the same time period the previous year.
Kenner notes while bulk commodity exports were lower 1% from the previous year, high-value exports in the latest forecast were up 3% from the same time last year. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Thanks, Rod, for the update. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your grain analysis and your overnight markets after this.
Attention Ohio businesses. Join the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation for the 2025 Ohio Safety Congress and Expo, April 16th through the 18th at the Greater Columbus Convention Center. Connect with industry experts, have hands-on training sessions, explore cutting-edge safety solutions with over 300 exhibitors. Whether you're looking to reduce risks, enhance productivity, or build a stronger safety culture, the Ohio Safety Congress is for you. Register at www.ohiosafetycongress.com. It's free.
In a time of tight margins when every penny counts, could you be saving more on your monthly energy bill? Ohio Farm Bureau is here to help members get competitive electric and natural gas supply prices through its Energy Savings Program. Participants save an average of 10% on their rates. Let Ohio Farm Bureau help you take the guesswork out of energy savings. Request your free bill analysis at ofb.ag/energy program. Savings not guaranteed. Actual savings may vary.
It's now time for today's market analysis, which is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Call 574-566-2113 for more information on soybean marketing to LDC. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished mixed on Monday, kicking off the work week with a little bit of strength in the wheat market. However, corn and soybeans did not play with the day. Overall, the stories were diverse in the marketplace. Keep in mind we have a WASDE report for the Tuesday trading period. That's going to be something to definitely watch as well. As we take a look at the wheat side of things, the chance that the U.S. may start to get involved in Russia and Ukraine, at least with regard to fiddling with some credit or banking laws and sanctions, continues to lift the wheat market overall. It's because of that we saw the wheat market a little bit stronger. Yesterday was the last day that the U.S. can ship soybeans to China without tariffs. For the week ending March 6th, the U.S. exported 31 million bushels of soybeans, 71.6 million bushels of corn, 7.9 million bushels of wheat. The corn exports were larger than expected. Wheat and beans near trader expectations. For the crop years to date, we continue to be above last year on corn, up 33% year-on-year, still up 9.5% year-on-year on soybeans, and up 18% on wheat, where there's not an expectation for a changing of any of those export numbers on the WASDE report for Tuesday. There are rumors that China canceled about 1 to 2 soybean cargoes over the weekend. We did not get any confirmation of that yesterday. Whether tariffs play into that or not, who knows? But we'll have to see going forward whether there's any additional sales or additional cancellations. Outside of the wheat story, there wasn't much else that was in the marketplace overall. Corn trying to follow wheat higher, but failed just because of the economic outlook for all parts of the corn market. Now, that being said, we are expecting a slightly friendly corn number on the stock side and maybe a decrease in Argentina's corn production. I think the second one of those is probably less likely than the first. Time will tell. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Now let's take a look at your overnight trade brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Well, let's start off with May corn, 471 1/4, down 3/4. December new crop corn, 454, down a penny. May soybeans, 1011 3/4, down 2 1/4. November soybeans, 1014 3/4, down 3 cents. July wheat, 573 1/2, down 3 3/4. In livestock from yesterday's close, April live cattle 257, up 30 cents. June live cattle 197.22, up 75 cents. April lean hogs 88.30, up 95 cents. May lean hogs 91.47, up 87 cents. April feeder cattle 277.92, down 22 cents, and May feeder cattle 278.55, up 35 cents. Have a great day, everyone. This is the Ohio AgNet.